Greetings, fellow historians. Welcome to the Forbidden Codex of History, where we delve into the hidden, obscure, and unresolved mysteries of the past, exploring forgotten civilizations, enigmatic artifacts, unsolved historical events, and so much more. Remember to hit the like button and subscribe. Now let's delve into today's mystery, Troy. We'll journey through time to uncover the founding myths of Troy, its rise to prominence, the epic Trojan War, and the mysteries that continue to surround this ancient city. We'll also delve into the archaeological discoveries, the legendary characters like Achilles, Hector, and Helen of Troy, and the unanswered questions that still puzzle historians and archaeologists today. This tale spans centuries, encompassing myth, history, and scientific inquiry, as we unravel the layers of one of the greatest enigmas of human civilization. Chapter 1. The Founding of Troy. Our story begins with the founding of Troy, as recounted in Greek mythology. According to legend, Troy, also known as Ilium, was established by Dardanus, a son of Zeus, or alternatively, by his descendant Tros, from whom the city took its name. This mythological narrative situates Troy as a divine city, blessed by the gods themselves. Apollo and Poseidon were said to have contributed to the construction of its formidable walls, imbuing the city with an aura of divine protection and architectural brilliance. The name of the city, tied so deeply to its mythological roots, also serves as a clue to its cultural and religious significance in ancient times. Archaeological evidence situates Troy at Hisarlik in modern-day Turkey, where a series of settlements were built and rebuilt over millennia. Excavations have uncovered no fewer than 9 distinct layers of occupation, with each layer representing a different era in the city's long history. The earliest settlements date back to around 3000 BCE, and the site was continuously occupied until approximately 500 CE. The city's strategic location near the Dardanelles Strait made it a vital hub for trade and communication, serving as a gateway between Europe and Asia. Its position likely contributed to its wealth and importance, drawing the attention of neighboring civilizations and invaders alike. The archaeological record reveals that the city underwent numerous phases of destruction and rebuilding, suggesting a tumultuous history marked by war, natural disasters, and economic shifts. The layers of Troy are labeled 1 through 9, with Troy 7 often identified as the most likely candidate for the city described in Homer's epics. This layer, dated to approximately 1300 to 1100 BCE, shows evidence of extensive fortifications and destruction, aligning with the traditional timeline of the Trojan War. Yet questions persist about how closely these settlements align with the Troy described in mythology. Could the towering walls of Troy 7th, the most likely candidate for Homer's city, truly have been the work of gods, or were they the product of remarkable human ingenuity and engineering? Additionally, what motivated this location to be chosen for such a prominent city? Its strategic position near the Dardanelles Strait suggests it was a key player in trade and communication between Europe and Asia. These mysteries add layers to our understanding of Troy's founding. The city's mythological origin stories intertwine with its historical significance, creating a complex narrative that continues to captivate historians and archaeologists. Was Troy's founding a reflection of real events, later mythologized to enhance its prestige? Or was it purely a product of Greek imagination, a way to explain the power and allure of a distant and enigmatic city? These are the questions we'll explore as we delve deeper into Troy's history. Chapter 2. Myths and Legends of Troy. Troy's legends are immortalized in Homer's epic poems, the Iliad and the Odyssey, as well as in numerous other ancient texts. These stories have transcended time, becoming a cornerstone of Western literature and a source of endless fascination. Central to these tales is the Trojan War, a decade-long conflict between the Greeks and Trojans. According to myth, the war began when Paris, a prince of Troy and son of King Priam, abducted Helen, the wife of the Spartan king Menelaus. Helen's beauty was legendary, and her elopement, or abduction, sparked an alliance of Greek kings, led by Agamemnon, to wage war against Troy. But did these events unfold as described by Homer, or are they poetic exaggerations of real historical conflicts? While there is no definitive archaeological evidence to confirm the existence of Helen or Paris, some scholars speculate that their story may reflect cultural tensions and hostilities between Aegean civilizations during the Late Bronze Age. The absence of contemporary written records from Troy leaves us guessing about how its inhabitants perceived these events, or if they even occurred. What's more, the question of whether Homer himself based his epics on historical truths or oral traditions is still debated. Did the Trojan War as a singular event take place, or were the stories a composite of multiple conflicts and myths? This ambiguity keeps Troy shrouded in mystery. Chapter 3. The Trojan War and its Heroes. The Trojan War is a tapestry of legendary characters and dramatic events that has captured the imagination of generations. Achilles, the Greek hero, was said to be nearly invincible, save for his vulnerable heel. Hector, Troy's noble defender, represented the city's hopes and resilience. Their climactic duel, in which Achilles brutally slays Hector, stands as one of the most poignant moments in ancient literature. Achilles' rage and Hector's tragic heroism are immortalized in the Iliad, offering timeless lessons about the human cost of war and the fragility of glory. This legendary confrontation was not merely a battle of strength but also a clash of ideals. Achilles embodied the wrathful, almost divine fury of the Greek war machine, while Hector symbolized the steadfast, mortal courage of a man defending his homeland. Achilles' refusal to accept Hector's plea for an honorable burial starkly contrasts with Hector's earlier compassion. The gods, particularly Zeus, Apollo, and Athena, play key roles in influencing the outcomes of the war, highlighting the deeply intertwined nature of divine intervention and human fate in ancient Greek storytelling. Homer's vivid descriptions bring these characters to life, painting Achilles as a nearly invulnerable force of nature and Hector as a doomed yet valiant hero. How much of their story is rooted in historical figures or events remains one of the enduring mysteries of the Trojan War. Chapter 4. The Sack of Troy and the Trojan Horse. The 10-year war culminates in the legendary Sack of Troy, facilitated by one of history's most famous deceptions, the Trojan horse. According to the myth, the Greeks constructed a massive wooden horse and left it outside Troy's gates as an apparent offering. Unbeknownst to the Trojans, the horse concealed Greek soldiers. Once the horse was brought inside the city, the soldiers emerged at night, opening the gates for their comrades and ensuring Troy's downfall. Was the Trojan horse a real event, a symbolic representation, or a later embellishment of the story? Some historians suggest that the horse might have been a metaphor for a siege engine or even a natural disaster, such as an earthquake, that allowed the Greeks to breach Troy's walls. Theories abound, but no definitive archaeological evidence has been found to confirm the existence of the horse or the exact method by which Troy was conquered. The sack of Troy is also marked by horrifying acts of vengeance and violence, as detailed in later accounts. Priam, the aged king of Troy, was brutally killed, and his city was left in ruins. Survivors, such as Aeneas, are said to have fled to establish new civilizations, contributing to the broader mythological framework of the ancient world. The symbolic resonance of the Trojan horse has persisted through the centuries, representing deceit and the thin line between victory and destruction. Write down in the comments down below what you think about it. Chapter 5. The Archeological Troy. In the 19th century, German archaeologist Heinrich Schliemann embarked on a quest to uncover the site of Troy. His excavations at Hisarlik revealed a complex stratigraphy of 9 distinct layers, each representing a different phase of the city's history. Schliemann's discoveries were groundbreaking, but also controversial. His methods, which involved extensive digging and destruction, have been criticized by modern archaeologists. Despite this, his work laid the foundation for future investigations. Schliemann's passion for uncovering Troy was matched by his determination to connect the archaeological record with Homeric legends. Among his most famous discoveries was a cache of gold and jewelry that he dubbed Priam's treasure, which he believed belonged to the Trojan king. While subsequent analysis suggests that the treasure predates the Trojan War by several centuries, its discovery highlighted the richness of the ancient city and underscored the importance of the site. One of the most critical findings came in the 20th century under the leadership of archaeologists like Carl Blegen, Wilhelm Dörfeld, and later Manfred Kaufmann. Blegen's work in the 1930s focused on Troy 7, which he proposed as the likely candidate for Homeric Troy. This layer, dated to approximately 1300 to 1100 BCE, revealed evidence of a fortified city with signs of violent destruction, including arrowheads, scorched walls, and collapsed structures. Kaufmann's excavations in the late 20th and early 21st centuries further advanced our understanding of Troy. Kaufmann's findings included fortifications, pottery, and remnants of a water supply system, suggesting a highly organized society with connections to the wider Bronze Age world. He uncovered evidence suggesting that Troy was a significant trade hub, with links to Anatolia, the Aegean, and beyond. His team also identified a large lower city, expanding the known boundaries of Troy far beyond the citadel excavated by Schliemann. This discovery painted a picture of Troy as a sprawling urban center rather than a small fortress. However, many mysteries remain. The precise timeline of Troy's destruction, the identities of its inhabitants, and the extent of its influence in the ancient world are still debated. The discovery of Hittite texts referring to a city called Wilusa, possibly Troy, has added another layer of complexity, suggesting that Troy may have been a vassal state of the Hittite Empire. Yet, the connection between Wilusa and the Troy of Homer's epics remains speculative. Chapter 6. Unanswered Questions and Mysteries. Despite the wealth of archaeological evidence, many questions about Troy remain unanswered. One of the most significant mysteries is whether the Trojan War, as described by Homer, actually took place. If it did, was it a single decade-long conflict? Or does it represent a synthesis of multiple wars fought over centuries? What was the true nature of the relationship between the Greeks and the Trojans? Were they bitter enemies? Or did they share cultural and economic ties that complicated their interactions? The legendary figures of the Trojan War, such as Achilles, Hector, and Helen, also raise questions. Were they historical individuals, or are they purely literary constructs? If they were real, what roles did they play in the events that unfolded at Troy? The lack of contemporary written records from Troy itself makes it challenging to separate fact from fiction. The Trojan horse remains one of the most iconic, yet enigmatic aspects of the story. Was it a literal wooden structure, a metaphor for a siege engine, or something else entirely? Some scholars have even suggested that it could represent a natural disaster, such as an earthquake, that allowed the Greeks to breach Troy's defenses. Without definitive evidence, the truth behind the Trojan horse continues to elude us. Another unanswered question concerns the fate of Troy after its fall. While some layers of the city show evidence of destruction and abandonment, others indicate periods of rebuilding and continued occupation. What became of the survivors of Troy, and how did they influence the cultures that emerged in the region? Could the myths of Trojan refugees founding new cities such as Rome have a basis in historical migration patterns? Finally, the identity of Troy's inhabitants remains a subject of debate. Were they Anatolian, Aegean, or a blend of both? How did their language, religion, and culture evolve over the centuries? These questions highlight the gaps in our understanding of Troy and underscore the need for continued research and exploration. Chapter 7. The Enduring Legacy of Troy. The legacy of Troy extends far beyond its archaeological site. Its myths and legends have shaped Western literature, art, and culture for millennia. From Homer's epics to Virgil's Aeneid and beyond, the story of Troy has inspired countless retellings and adaptations. Its themes of love, war, betrayal, and heroism resonate with audiences across generations, making it a timeless tale that continues to captivate the human imagination. Modern interpretations of Troy often reflect contemporary concerns, from political allegories to explorations of human resilience. The city's enduring allure lies in its ability to adapt to changing times while remaining rooted in its mythical past. Whether seen as a symbol of hubris, a cautionary tale about the cost of war, or a celebration of human ingenuity and endurance, Troy remains a powerful and evocative emblem of our shared cultural heritage. Conclusion. The timeless mystery of Troy. The city of Troy, with its blend of myth, legend, and history, continues to be a source of fascination for scholars, storytellers, and adventurers alike. From its mythical founding by gods and demigods, to its prominence as a center of trade and culture, and from its legendary destruction in the Trojan War, to its rediscovery through the efforts of Heinrich Schliemann and others, Troy embodies the complex interplay between fact and fiction. Even after centuries of study, many questions remain unanswered. Was the Trojan War a real historical event, or was it a poetic amalgamation of multiple conflicts? How did the city of Troy influence neighboring civilizations, and what role did it play in the broader geopolitical landscape of the Bronze Age? Could future excavations uncover more definitive evidence about its people, its culture, and the events that shaped its history? And what about the enduring allure of its legends? Why do they resonate so deeply with us even today? The rediscovery of Troy at Hisarlik opened the door to scientific inquiry, but it also highlighted the limits of our understanding. Each artifact, wall fragment, and buried layer tells part of a story that spans millennia, yet much remains hidden, waiting to be unearthed. The enduring debates over the Trojan horse, the identities of figures like Priam and Hector, and the city's ultimate fate underscore how little we truly know about this enigmatic place. In many ways, Troy serves as a mirror of our own ambitions and curiosities. It reflects our desire to uncover the past, to piece together stories from fragments, and to make sense of the mysteries that define human existence. Whether Troy is seen as a real city or a symbolic construct, its lessons about love, war, and resilience continue to inspire us. As archaeologists and historians persist in their search for answers, Troy reminds us that history is not a fixed narrative, but a living puzzle, one that evolves with each new discovery. Perhaps one day, the sands of time will yield more of Troy's secrets, allowing us to draw closer to the truth of this legendary city. Until then, its myths and mysteries will endure, captivating generations to come. And thus, the mystery goes on. Thank you for listening. If you liked this, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Don't forget to watch that recommended video for you for more mysteries to uncover. We shall see you in our next session of The Forbidden Codex of History.